All right, today we are diving into a problem I see all the time in business. How do you get from total, complete chaos to crystal clarity? We're going to look at this through the lens of a strategy built for users of a really powerful marketing platform, a strategy called high-level consulting.
So let me ask you something, and be honest. For anyone out there using the high-level platform, does this question hit a little too close to home? You jumped in with this big vision of a smooth, streamlined business, but what's the day-to-day reality actually like?
And that question leads us right into what the source material calls the high-level paradox. And it's this weird conflict, right? You have this incredibly powerful platform on one hand, but on the other, it can so easily turn into this overwhelming, tangled mess if it's not built on a really solid foundation from the start.
I mean, your goal was perfect. You saw high level and thought, yes, this is it. This is the tool that's going to automate my follow-ups, organize my sales team, give me reports that actually make sense, and just unlock real growth. The vision was absolutely on point.
But then reality kind of smacked you in the face. Somewhere between that initial excitement and where you are right now, the system just got messy. Workflows got piled on top of other workflows, your data started to get muddy, and that simple, efficient machine you dreamed of, it just never really materialized. Let's look at the specific symptoms and see if this sounds familiar. Leads getting sent to the wrong person, or worse, to nobody at all. Reports that, sure, they look pretty, but they tell you absolutely nothing real about your business. And that awful sinking feeling that your team is just drowning in the exact manual tasks you thought you were automating away. And this quote just nails the result. You don't have this sleek engine for growth. What you have, and I absolutely love this term, is Frankenstein workflows. It's this monster, all patched together and messy, that's literally costing you sales and opportunities every single day.
So if that's the problem, who's the architect that has the solution? It's time to talk about the expert who actually specializes in taming these kinds of complicated systems. See, the solution starts with a true systems architect. This is someone who doesn't just get the big picture business strategy, but also understands the nitty-gritty technical details needed to actually make it all work. They're not just another marketer, they see the entire machine from top to bottom.
And the kind of background you need for this is what really makes the difference. I mean, we're talking about someone who isn't just a certified high-level admin. They've been invited by HighLevel itself to teach a masterclass to their community. This is someone who's managed 7-figure marketing budgets while also building custom AI tools. It's this super rare combination of big picture corporate discipline and that fast-moving entrepreneurial spirit. That's the secret sauce.
And this quote really sums up the whole philosophy. The goal is never to add more bells and whistles or more complexity. It's about taking that overwhelming chaos, boiling it down to something clean and simple, and then turning that simplicity into a profitable, reliable engine for the business.
Okay, so we get the who, but what about the how? This brings us to the really unique business model they use, which the source calls a smarter way to build.
So instead of locking you into one of those rigid, long-term contracts that, let's be honest, never really fit what you need, the approach here is a super flexible block of hours model. This avoids that classic problem where, your business needs change, but your agency contract is set in stone. One month you might be all in on cleaning up the system, the next you're launching a huge campaign. This model just adapts right along with you.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. You can engage at different levels. Maybe you start with a 10-hour block a month, or maybe you need an elite 40-hour block. It gives businesses the freedom to scale their support up or down as their needs and their budgets change, all without getting locked into something that doesn't work for them. But here's the real power of this model, and it goes way beyond just being flexible. For one predictable investment, you don't just get one person. You get access to an entire team of specialists, high-level architects, developers, designers, SEO experts, copywriters, the whole shebang. It's basically like having a full-stack marketing and operations department on speed dial. So what does this outsourced department actually do? Well, this next part is all about that transformation, taking a business's internal systems from a total mess to a finely tuned machine. The work really boils down to 4 key areas. First, building lead generation systems that are actually reliable. Second, automating all those internal operations to get rid of that soul-crushing busy work. Third, and this is a huge one, creating reporting and attribution that you can actually trust. And finally, building the solid technical infrastructure that everything else depends on.
Let's just pause on this quote for a second, because it hits on one of the biggest pain points for any business owner. The source claims most reporting inside HighLevel is just flat out wrong, not because the platform is broken, but because the setup is. So the core promise here is to fix the data at the source, so the numbers that the leadership team is looking at are the real numbers.
Okay, a great theory is one thing, but the proof is always in the performance, right? So let's look at how this actually plays out in the real world with a couple of specific case studies. First example, a group of wellness clinics and med spas. The problem was classic burnout. Their staff was totally overwhelmed with manual tasks, and because of that, clients were slipping through the cracks. The solution was a complete rebuild of their automation, creating these smooth booking flows and really intelligent internal tasking systems. And the result? I mean, this number is just staggering, a 70% reduction in their administrative workload. Just think about what that actually means. It frees up the team to spend less time chasing down paperwork and more time giving amazing service to their clients. That's a game changer. But okay, can this approach work for a bigger company? Let's look at this equipment rental group with over 40 locations. They were dealing with inconsistent workflows, lead routing was broken across different territories, and they had zero clarity on their marketing ROI, a much, much more complex challenge. Well, after the team came in and rebuilt their geo-based routing and their attribution systems, one of the immediate impacts was this: over 390 new, high-intent search clicks in just 28 days. It just goes to show, when that foundational system is built right, growth can happen, and it can happen fast. So what you see across these case studies is a simple, repeatable pattern. You start with a broken, chaotic system. You rebuild it the right way with a solid architecture, and the result is this dramatic, almost explosive improvement in clarity, in operational speed, and of course in your return on investment.
And this really brings us to the final thought. After seeing what a properly built system can do, the source material leaves us with a really provocative question to think about. Is your business truly built on a solid foundation? Or is it just running on a collection of those Frankenstein workflows, just hoping that nothing important falls apart?